welcome to the Walking Dead After Show, live on theStreamtv. I am your host, Malynda Hale, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Timothy, Michael, Sue, and Michael. How are you guys? We're so glad you're tuning in. Let's talk about this crazy episode, all right? First of all, it was a nasty episode. I feel like they're finding new ways for people to get killed, and it's getting a little out of hand. But we were talking about how the people of Alexandria are pretty dumb.
They're pretty dumb. They're so dumb.
Yeah. They like have no skills, no nothing.
No, like how do you trip over a rock when you're supposed to be running away? How do you shoot somebody in the leg when you're supposed to be shooting the walker? How do you get bit when there's 15 other people around you that could say, hey, there's somebody behind you, just turn around? I don't understand. I don't understand.
Right, was nobody in Cub Scouts? Was nobody have any basic training?
There's nothing. And like, did they really think that nothing was ever going to happen to them? Like, I really think they truly believed they were just safe within these walls.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're just gonna live our little life, make cookies, yeah.
Well, it's like, you look at the haves and the have-nots, you know what I mean? Like, those who have everything afforded to them, they have this nice enclosure, and then, you know, you look at people who don't, the disenfranchised, like they know how to make $5 stretch in a couple of days. So it's like you look at the Alexandrians and they had everything, and they kind of squandered it, and they took for granted this group, and they were trying to teach them at the beginning. Remember where they were like, we want to be a part, and Rick wanted to be sheriff, and Michonne was going to help, you know, but that's what happens when you don't listen.
But then they try to blame Rick. Like that one guy was like, well, this is what happens when he wants to try to kill us all, and this is why we're dying.
And that's why he was the first to go. Don't you ever talk about Rick.
Don't cross Rick.
Right, do not cross Rick.
You know, and
please.
He was first one, and then never trust a man in a garden hat. What? Taking off.
He took off.
He did, for real.
He was out. He was, I'm sorry, but he was black for a second.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much.
He ran so
He did run so fast.
And that hat stood on the whole time. I was
no, he didn't just run. He shot somebody and then he ran.
And then he took off.
And then what was his name? Sturgis? Come on, with a hat like that
Sturgis.
and a name.
A name like that, yeah.
No.
You know what your destiny is.
Yeah.
What I also find interesting, this is still within that 40 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Happening when the timer went off for that casserole.
Yes.
Because now we're seeing what happened with Rick's group. I just thought that was so funny. I was like, this all happened in 40 minutes. This is the longest 40 minutes ever.
Of TV history.
Of TV history.
And I like how they use the sounds to let us know in
like
the previous
kind of markers.
episode
Absolutely.
what happened in the previous episode, that at the same timeline, this is what happened over there since they were separated. And I love that they did the horn and everybody like hell and running and like trying to, then when it stopped, so then we knew at that point, you know, Morgan hit the dude, turned it off, you know, things like that. And I really loved how they did it. I was getting hyped all over again, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Good stuff.
So we have the group, we're watching the group, and you know, Timothy, you made a really good point as far as Daryl and Sasha's kind of disagreement. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I just thought it was interesting how Sasha, like, end of last season was just ready to die, and now she's like all gung-ho about, you know, saving Alexandria, which I thought is a really great turning point for her. And the fact that Daryl wants to go back to Alexandria so bad, and I can't help but to think if it's for Carol. And I just thought that I was like, why do you want to go back to Alexandria so bad? And I was like, oh, Carol's back there. Like, of course you want to go protect, you know, the person that you.
But she's the one person that does not need protecting.
Right.
I think she, absolutely.
And I think that's ultimately why.
100%.
I don't even think it's about protecting Carol. I think Daryl knows, like, Carol, you cool, girl. Like, you can handle yourself. I think it's a matter of, because Daryl even said to Rick was like, well, we can't really go looking for people. And he was like, looking for people is helping us. I think Daryl's of that mindset of helping those who are less fortunate, like the Alexandrians. And so he's with Abraham and Sasha. He knows they can handle anything that comes their way. Alexandrians can't.
Right.
And I think maybe that's why Daryl took off. He's like, you know, these people don't have a chance in hell.
Because they know nothing, have nothing,
yeah,
haven't
like
experienced anything.
Like they're worse than Judith. Like I feel like Judith could do stuff.
Because she's been watching her father and her brother the whole time.
Yeah, stroller. Like I feel like she's ready. She could kill somebody with a binky, you know.
Yeah.
Alexandria is more helpless than
They really
Judith.
are.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay, so now I want to talk about Michonne's character because we saw
Fuck. Hell yeah.
Yes.
we saw some great things from Michonne in this episode. So you talked about it a lot. You were really like,
I was hyped. I was like, this is the Michonne.
Right.
Everybody, like
Yeah.
in the
we've been
comic
waiting
books,
for this.
How is she portrayed in the comic books?
Well, in the comic book, she has this whole backstory, which I love. Like, you know, she was a secretary at a law firm, and she took fencing in college, and that's why she has like these sword skills and stuff like that, which I found extremely interesting. But she's pretty kick-ass in the comics as well. So the show hasn't deviated much from that. I love her. I am
agree.
all about
Absolutely.
what they've done with this
100%.
character.
Yeah.
This, like I said last episode, the strong black woman and how she always protects. But I feel like she always has this. There's always like her. I feel like her wheels are always turning, and you could always see it. Like I feel like she doesn't know whether to go with Morgan or whether to go with Rick or to stay in even balance. Like I don't know where her mind is most of the time, and I love that
Right.
about her.
What I love about her is that she is the first female person of color character that is showcased as the strong, silent type.
Yes.
It's usually
You gotta be
attitude,
outspoken.
Yeah, loud.
She has
sassy.
attitude though.
No, she does.
She has attitude within her silence.
Yes, it's
Yes.
in her eyes.
Her
and
eyes.
it's all in her
It's that
face.
side eye. She has
Yeah.
side eye for days.
Yes.
And
For
then,
days.
and then it's like then she had like it was like a buildup. Like she had little bits here and there, and it was all eyes. But that come to Jesus moment with Heath
Yes.
in the pet shop. Yes.
I'm
I
glad
love
somebody
that.
said
Yeah.
it. Somebody needed to say it.
You don't know. That was
Absolutely.
Ooh,
Yeah.
sit down. Sit down.
She was like,
Heath.
look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take your whoopee hair.
Right.
Oh my
and
God.
Sit down.
Give me
Heath.
whoopee
Yeah.
Close
Oh, I
to
loved
wannabe
it.
weekend hair.
Oh my goodness.
I loved it.
Was I the only one upset about the pet shop thing with the animals and stuff like that?
Well,
I
it's so
was so
funny. We
really
talked about that. Like,
bad.
why is it more sad when an animal is like dead and like has no chance, but then you see a human, you're like, well, how'd you get yourself in that situation? Like, you know
animals
what
are
I mean?
helpless.
Because I think it's when it's an animal. Yeah,
Right,
It's
it's so
absolutely
sad.
an animal dies. I'm hysterical.
Right.
A person,
Yes.
I'm like, well, you deserved it. So, you know, I'm sorry.
That's because we're awful human beings.
We are awful human
Probably.
beings.
We are
yeah.
horrible. The other thing that we noticed in the pet shop that Sue pointed out was the huge dog banner. She was so mad about it. Like, why is that there?
That's
It
not
was
even-
massive.
That shouldn't even be constituted as a poster. That should be a drop cloth. That was so
It was a
huge.
backdrop, yeah.
Yeah, blocking that door. Like, come on. That was, I mean,
And it wasn't even like a famous dog. Like, who was that dog? Why did he get
It wasn't
the
even a
entire
famous
wall?
dog.
It wasn't a
It's like, why
lassie.
were you there?
It was clearly somebody on set. They were like, listen, we need to find something big enough
To
that
cut
would
this
be in
door.
a pet shop
Yeah.
that will cover this door.
Right.
And they were just like, all right, we'll just print this doggy thing and put it up there. Like, I've never seen nothing like that in a pet shop.
Hey, decorations. So one of the things that we talked about a little bit, especially with this episode, for me especially, I'm just at the point where I would give up. I would just be so tired of just all this running around and fighting, exhausting, you smell bad. Like, I just wonder how long they really feel they can do this.
You know, they touched on that last season, though, when Rick obviously quoted the famous line, "We are the Walking
Yes.
Dead," because I think that you're right. I think that last episode or last season when they were, you know, in the barn with the hurricane and all that stuff and going on the highway and dehydrated and stuff like that, I think they were almost at that point of when do we give up? And why do we keep fighting? This virus is inside of us. We know we're going to become one of them
Right.
at some point.
No matter what.
Like, we're fighting for our lives every day, every second. What are we fighting for? And I think we've obviously answered that question is for, you know, the group, their family,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, because
But
you look at Enid, right? And she was by herself. She lost everybody, and she was solo, and she didn't even think she wanted to be around people
Right.
anymore. Then you look at Rick's group, and every person who's ever been introduced to, you know, the inner golden circle of the Rick group, and people want to stay with them,
Right.
Because they give them a reason
They're
to
fighters.
live again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They symbolize
like-
strength.
Yeah, that's
in
the
this.
party you survive.
Yeah.
But I also
That's
kind
true.
of agree with you though, where it's like I'm tired of
Yeah,
this
I
like
mean,
never-ending
it's the
CrossFit
God.
class. Like it's just
ridiculous.
yeah, it's the
It's
constant.
like, oh God, not again, you know? It's like, how many times do I have to get out of this situation?
Somebody asked me to go on a hike. I'm like, I'm sick. Yeah. For how long? For till ever you stop asking me to go on this hike.
I'm sure you'll give up once there's too many, once there's not enough people to push towards the walkers so that you can walk away.
But I think that's what's going on with Nicholas, though.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I think that he's just.
I think we saw that throughout this episode, all of his little like moments, which I was kind of like, come on, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
But I think that's exactly what he was going through. Like, how long? Especially because he's one of the weak ones. He was really one of the weak ones. So I think that's what we saw. He wanted to give up. He didn't want to do this anymore. And then we get to the moment where he does give up, and lo and behold, one of our favorite characters is now in a dire situation. Ooh, let me tell you, he is alive, okay? I don't care what any of you say. There's no way that he's dead. First of all, that'd be cruel. I don't think it would be like, I wouldn't put it past The Walking Dead to kill Glenn off, but I just don't think he was dead.
Okay, look, let me just say this really quick. That whole, what happened to him, the way that he went down was, he can't go down like that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to do a little spoiler. If you are not at this point in the comics, like fast forward 30 seconds or stop watching, go into another room. But the way that Glenn goes down in the comics, he is protecting something. He is fighting and protecting for something. And that is that's a respectable way to go out.
Especially for that character.
Exactly. Somebody who's been there from day one. Now, you can't just have somebody, kill themselves and get knocked over.
This was like a failed trust fall.
No. Right. Exactly. No.
Honestly.
He can't go out like that. There's no way. Just no way.
It's very true. Also, because we've seen, they did so much like foreshadowing. This episode was getting a little out of hand. But we've seen Glenn grow into a man. I feel like he was a boy in the first season, the first episode.
He's a pizza delivery guy.
He was.
Right. I thought that, I think people forget that he was a pizza delivery guy. He was the first person to save Rick.
Yeah.
I think, and what I said while we were watching the episode was all of these things came rushing back to me when there's this, like, oh my gosh, you could be dead. You might not be coming back. And it's like, all these things that you reflect on, it's like a close personal friend. You're like, oh, I remember this time.
That's why we wore black, right?
Exactly, because we're in mourning.
We did discuss this. I called off work sick today.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Yeah.
We want to know what you think. Do you think Glenn is alive, or do you think that's the last we're going to see of him? I can't imagine that that's true, but let us know what you think. Now, the last person who is in a terrible situation is Rick. I love me some Rick. I don't know how he's going to get out of this. Well, he always does, but I don't know how it's going to happen.
Well, we don't know how Glenn's going to get out of it either.
That's true. Well, you think he's dead?
Well, everybody's speculating. Everybody's speculating. They're looking at pictures under magnifying glass. They're just like, well, the camera angle position from this exterior angle at 90 degrees. Like, everybody, I love y'all. I love that y'all are doing this because, to me, I didn't think that it would be this soon that Glenn would be killed off on the show. Only because, I'll say it, because I can. You ain't gonna kill the token Asian on the show, because we know Georgia has a lot. And that's bull, okay? But that's how I felt. It's like, you can't kill the only Asian on the show. And I will say this about Glenn's character. For me, I have never seen a show that ever took an Asian character, let alone a male Asian character, and painted in a light where it's not fitting a stereotype, as opposed to a human being. It was Glenn. It wasn't Mr. Park. It wasn't Lee Sung. It wasn't some kind of Asian-sounding name. it was Glenn, and that's what we know of this character. And I think that's why when everybody in the Twitterverse and social media were just going bananas over this, how phenomenal is it that now we have, a future of episodes that are paved the way by, the actor Steven Yeun. And I said it. I was like, Glenn is definitely not dead, because, man, you just messed up your foreign distribution sales, AMC. Korea, we gonna riot. We are boycotting the show. But again, I think Glenn is a wonderful character, and we saw his growth, and I think that's why that radio callback with the, good luck, dumbass. And I know
took you back to the first episode because you're like, oh wow, that's where you came from.
Yeah, because like some it can be kind of like, it can be corny because it was very set up and put on a platter. But
of course.
I know for me, when I watched the episode, I saw Glenn, like the first time we all saw Glenn. And it's just like, holy crap, how far he's come from that Glenn who looked like Short Round. Like, I'm not gonna lie, y'all dressed him just like Short Round. To the Glenn who was tied to a chair fighting off a zombie, and then Glenn dealing with Maggie, when she was assaulted and then losing all of her family, you can't do this to Maggie. She done lost
everybody. She's literally lost every
everybody.
single person. She would have.
She would be done.
Glenn. She would be done.
She would be done.
Yeah.
So I don't think Glenn's gone. I don't.
No, I think we're all in
I think we're all in
consensus
that
Yeah,
he's
for sure.
He's going to be around.
But still, tweet us using the hashtag TWDAS and let us know what you think. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with your fan questions.
In case you missed it live.
In case you missed it live.
In case you missed it live.
In case you missed it live, this is for you.
I love it. That was freaking loud.
Oh my God.
I didn't see any of this coming. Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah,
I was like,
How did you get here? No.
Kill him. Kill him. Definitely kill him. We're cool.
shade. Shade left and right, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies, let's put your 2 cents in.
Rubbed me the wrong way and the right way.
But you were like, well, we want to know what's going to happen.
That was cute.
We just want to say we love you all. Thank you so much for your support. You are all seriously the best in the world.
Another beautiful summer at theStream.tv, y'all.
Here we go, guys.
Thank you for being here. Peace out.
Bye, guys.
Welcome back to the Walking Dead After Show live on theStream.tv. Now we're going to dive into the best part of our show, which is your questions. Thank you so much for tweeting us throughout the week, for tuning in live, and just joining in the conversation for The Walking Dead, because we're all huge fans. So the first question that we have here from Twitter is from James Hazlitt. I think I said that right. It says, haven't there been at least 2 ways shown to blend in with zombies? Did everyone forget these options? So we remember there are 2 options. You can put the zombie guts on you, which is disgusting, or as Michonne and Andrea and several people have done, they were walking with walkers, like their little slaves, cut their arms off and stuff, which is, I think, is kind of a cool idea. But yeah, what happened to that? Why did we forget this?
I don't know. That's a very, like that's.
But also, apparently, we don't know how to climb over fences when they're right there, so.
Right, and in that scene when they were all, when Michonne and them, where they were trying to get over the fence one by one, it was like, what's happening here? Like, what's everybody, like
2 at a time,
2 at a time, 4
go,
at a time, 10 at a time.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I don't care.
Let's be real though. I mean, nobody here probably on this panel would want to walk around with zombie guts all over you just to have zombies.
To live, I don't know.
I
know Sue would.
I mean, when you have another like option of like
Sue would walk around with my guts
walkers.
around her just
I would do the backstroke in zombie guts if it keeps me safe from walkers.
But I'm saying, like, if you had another option, which was, you know, just having them on chains behind you.
Like 2 Rottweilers? Yeah.
I would pull the Michonne with the chains before the guts.
Obviously,
but if I had
the guts is tough.
It is, for sure. I feel like I'm gonna throw up just thinking about it.
That'll be a beauty treatment though here in LA in a couple of years.
Oh my God.
So.
All right, do we have a Facebook question?
We do. We've got a Facebook question from the Fear the Walking Dead fan group from Facebook. And the fan question comes from Auckland, New Zealand, from Natasha Klijuet. I'm sorry if I butched it, but the question was, lots of posts about Glenn, but can we please talk about Daryl and what he was trying to achieve with his little lone time motorcycle ride? I'm sure he was meant to find Rick, but I personally thought these scenes were a bit of a waste and it could have been better written. So, like, what was that whole Easy Rider moment with Daryl?
I feel like Daryl's a loner anyway. Like, it wasn't that surprising to me that he took his little moment, you know?
I feel like he was contemplating, like he was all gung-ho about going back to Alexandria to save them, or Carol, in my opinion. And then when Rick got on the walkie and was like, you know, if we go back, that's helping us, it's not helping them. But if we, you know, maintain these walkers and keep them away from Alexandria, it's helping them in the long run. And I think that's what changed his mind, to have him go back to join Abraham and Sasha.
Yeah. Well, then he also changed his course because, like, you remember Rick was fighting in the RV with those wolves that Morgan should have hit with his billy stick, and then he hears the gunshot go off from that, and I think over the walkie because Rick was about to talk. So I think in Daryl hearing that, realize maybe, you know. What about you? What do you think? You would take off with Daryl.
No, I would not take off. I mean, maybe. All right, maybe. I mean, I agree. I wasn't that surprised by it. I just think like that seemed in his character to me. It didn't seem something ludicrous and out of the ordinary for him to kind of be doing, to be honest. So I didn't really look that into it.
Me either. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't judge him. What about you? Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, so yeah, we have one from our friends over at the Undead Walking.
Cool.
Yes.
And this is from Peggy Pete. And she says, Morgan, one of my dear cast members, he seems to be so different than the other survivors of The Walking Dead. Why?
He's been through a lot. I mean, you are so... See, look, I tend to side with Morgan, but I feel like next episode, because I think we're going to get a little bit more of what he went through, I feel like I'm going to be frustrated and be on your side. But I'm still on Morgan's side right now.
I'm not on Morgan's side. That
a lot of people aren't.
Namaste life. No, Morgan. You let the wolves go the first time when you ran into them, put them in the car all snuggled up and everything, and then they came back to Alexandria. They murdered all these people because you let them go, and then one of them took off with a gun.
Right.
We later see that same one with the gun.
Shoot at Rick.
Shoot at Rick.
Right.
Rick put them down. 4 wolves he put down. You know what I mean? So it's like Morgan, at the end of the day, the decision that he made to let them go
with a weapon
was
not the best decision.
Not the best decision, and I hope they dig into his backstory.
Absolutely. But the thing that I do like about Morgan, I really think he's just trying to hold on to his humanity, you know, because everyone's so quick to kill, like without thinking, and you're losing that compassion, you're losing that love for human life. And I think that that's just what he symbolizes on the show.
I don't know. I just feel like I could appreciate the fact that he wants to maintain his humanity, but this attitude of you know, I feel like he gives off this energy of I'm better than you because I don't think like you.
Right. I can see that.
It's just a little, it just irks me the wrong way.
Right.
You know, because you used to do that. You had a whole little area set up in that neighborhood, and
sticks
he was shooting at Rick and Michonne when they first came out there, and all they were trying to do was help him.
Yeah. But I think that's what we're gonna find out what happened to get him to this place and how he learned all those stick tricks.
I think that's just gonna piss me off.
So you think we might have a redeeming moment?
I hope so.
I think we're gonna find out. I think we're gonna find out who his
make him more
yogi.
mad.
It's gonna make me so much mad.
We're gonna find out who his Bikram guru is.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Tim, who do we have on YouTube tonight?
So we have, let's see. We've got Retroactive, thank you for joining us. Simone Cerna, thank you also for joining us. We've got Andrew Schneider. I'm all with you on the comic books, Andrew, I got you. And then I've got Alondra Loves to Eat. We love that screen name because we all love to eat.
We do.
Thank you for joining us, you guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, what are our predictions for next week?
Oh, really quick. I do think that Rick is going to lose that hand.
Interesting.
Just because they kept bringing back
I think they just wanted us to think he got bit. That's all I think.
I mean, he done got punched in the face and stabbed and shot, and they didn't give him thrown through a window. They didn't even give him that much attention to all those wounds. But as soon as he gets a little cut on his hand, it was in a walker. I don't know. I think that he might lose that hand.
I think that we're gonna feel sorry for Morgan and understand the way that he is.
Interesting.
I'm hoping that they'll shed some light on Morgan's backstory so we can start, you know, getting on Team Morgan's side all over again. But I think my prediction is I'm agreeing at the top where we said Glenn ain't dead. Glenn ain't dead. You made the prediction that you think Maggie is pregnant. Oh, dang, I definitely agree with you on that one. But you know what? I think Jesse's changed her mind. My prediction, she gonna hook up with Rick as soon as she sees him, because you know he getting out that RV.
Right.
That's what you
That's
my prediction. Rick is going to earn some cookies.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I said it.
Okay. I can agree with that. I mean, I would like to. I wish that I could kind of agree with you on the Morgan thing. I just am. I am so. I do not. And I'm usually one to like kind of go the different way. But I can't. I cannot see that. I don't see that happening. And also, I do agree that Glenn is not dead as the biggest prediction that everybody else is probably making. I think. But my thing is, I want to predict how he's going to get out of that mess, but I don't know. But part of me wants to say that I think it's going to be that using, Nicholas's blood and guts and wrapping up and crawling out of there.
Yeah.
I think he's going to crawl out of there either to the fence on the other side where that forest was or all the way to the back. I mean, to me, that seems the only logical way that he's going to get out of that situation.
And if anybody could do it, I think it'd be Glenn.
Yeah.
He's totally a survivor.
Oh, heck yeah.
All right, well, let us know what you think. And we're so excited for next week's episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you tweet us throughout the week using the hashtag TWDAS, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.